Guitar Solo Countdown.
Hey everybody, welcome to Jimmy Wolf's Guitar Solo Countdown. In this episode, we're going to be talking about the band Alice in Chains and their amazing guitar player Jerry Cantrell and his top 5 solos. Before we get to the guitar solos, I just want to give a quick history of the band. Alice in Chains formed in the late 80s. They were part of that massive movement called the grunge alternative movement, along with fellow bands Nirvana, Pearl Jam, and Soundgarden. This was a very important time in the late 80s, early 90s, because 80s rock was really starting to get stale and corporate, and it just needed a shakeup. And Alice in Chains was one of a few bands that just did it perfectly. Okay, so let's talk about Jerry Cantrell. An absolute fantastic guitar player, very tasty, very bluesy. He sort of mixes heavy metal with the blues in a very sort of dark way that perfectly complements the band's morbid, gothic, alternative sound. And I love Jerry's use of the wah pedal. All right, now let's get to the guitar solos. Here are the top 5 guitar solos of Jerry Cantrell from Alice in Chains. Hope you guys enjoy.
Number 5. Number 4. Number 3. Number 2. Number 1.
All right, so Them Bones, that's definitely my favorite Jerry Cantrell solo from Alice in Chains. I love how the song is in 7/8 or 7/4, so it's an odd meter. which means that there's 7 beats per bar as opposed to 4/4, where there's 4 beats per bar. It gives it a really weird sort of disjunct feeling to it, which kind of adds to the whole morbid vibe of the song and the album. So that's really cool. I love how Jerry Cantrell uses his wah pedal as a filter effect, as opposed to like a wah-wah sound. He'll just take his pedal and just place it in a filter position, so it kind of acts as an EQ. I think that's very cool. Okay, so let's go to part 2 of the show, and we'll look at the band's discography. So their first album was called Facelift, and that came out in 1990. It went double platinum, did very well. It was a perfect transition from the 80s to the 90s, and yeah, very good record. Wouldn't say it's perfect, but it's definitely a fantastic start. The next album was just a filler record called Sap. I mean, it's not bad, but it wasn't really one of their greatest. But it did show the band had a quieter acoustic side to them and that they were willing to experiment. But when we get to the next record called Dirt in 1992, this is when the band hit their stride. This album is their magnum opus. I think it's a perfect record. It has 2 of the greatest songs on it, Wood and Rooster. And this is definitely their most successful record. It went 5 times platinum. This was a near impossible record to follow up, but the band actually did it. They came out with another EP called Jar of Flies, which was a very smart move because you can't really compare this to Dirt. It's its own really cool record. And it is like Sap in that it's more of an experimental acoustic album, but it had some fantastic tunes on it, like I Stay Away and No Excuses. Now, the next record would be their last record for quite some time, and the last official record with Lane Staley before he passed away in 2002. And that album was the self-titled record, just called Alice in Chains. I love the album cover. It's got a green picture of a 3-legged dog that's in a purple jewel case. Very cool album cover. But the album does feel a little tired. It's not as inspired as the last 2. So this was a bit of a signal of the end of the first incarnation of this band. Now the band did reform for 3 records. Black Gives Way to Blue in 2009, The Devil Put Dinosaurs Here in 2013, and Rain or Fog in 2018. At first I was a little hesitant to get into these albums because it didn't have Lane on them, but after a few listens, man, I'm converted. These are really, really good records, and the band's going strong.